The evolution of marriage is something that is often a topic of debate that leaves many on either side of the evolution fence, from women deciding whether they will keep their maiden names or use a double barrel surname, to same-sex marriages, and now husbands taking the surnames of their wives. All these depict a society that is constantly evolving, yet there are always sectors of society that feel things should be as traditional as they've always been. In this instance, the judgment came about after two couples sought the right for their husbands to adopt their wives' surnames. One couple wanted the husband to take his wife's surname, while in the other matter, the wife had chosen a hyphenated surname and the husband wished to adopt that hyphenated surname. A genealogist from the University of the Free State says this action shows progressiveness on the part of men.
With the judgment, I would like us to be open-minded. There are two sides of the coin. The one side speaks to our traditional customs and traditional ways of being. The other side shows us how progressive men, some of the men, South African men, are becoming in terms of actually saying, I do get that perhaps my wife's family or surname is coming with quite a lot. There's a lot at stake for my wife. So let me rather not changing her own personal brand, but rather be a husband that can be supportive.
Velelo adds that some shifts in society need proper discussion from all sectors to ensure understanding and tolerance.
Usually people would say, but what does that in the practical sense of us young people today mean? And traditional leaders are in a position to guide us, to share their wisdom with us. Because remember, as much as information or knowledge is passed from one generation to the other, at some level, some aspects will be lost. And we need to actually get to a point of regrouping and start having conversations around what is marriage and what constitutes marriage.
A Methodist church pastor from Bloemfontein explains that people did not always have surnames, and that when couples got married, the wife would be called the wife of the man she was married to. As an example, Sarah, the wife of Abraham.
You cannot necessarily say surnames will ensure the legacy of that particular family, because there are a lot of surname change. You see, there are fathers now who have born children, male children, and they've got the surname of the father. But when you go back in history, you find that the father actually was the mother was not married, and he was born out of wedlock, and he took the surname of the mother. You see? So there's a break somewhere. You see, so we cannot necessarily say it will have a negative impact or a positive impact. You see, it will only depend of what will happen in future. Like now we are faced with this, that you can say the court has ruled that the husband can take the surname of the wife. You see, and they have not lived out that. You don't know what will the family of the husband think about that. But if it's the decision of the husband, you can say, even though I've married my wife, I've paid the bride price, I've paid the dowry, but I still feel that I had to take the surname of my wife. That's a choice, you see. And we cannot say this guy is not going to have a legacy.
As it turns out, Ndlanzi says even for the church, this judgment is not that much of a big deal, as surname choice has no bearing on legacy. He explains that the church also follows the law when marrying couples, adding that women are already making preferred choices when it comes to which surname they want to use when they get married. He says that can also apply for men.
It's neither here nor there, you see, because we do accept women who are using their maiden surnames in the church. We have married people and in the marriage register we ask them, are you going to maintain your original surname, or are you going to use the double barrel surname? And what happens now when they use the double barrel surname, when the child is born? Is he going to go with the double barrel surname? You see? And that might not necessarily be the case. You see? So really it's not something that we can make a meal out of it.
According to Farouk Dawood, who has been married for 40 years, the Muslim religion does give the woman an option to choose whether she wants to keep her maiden name when she gets married.
You see, in Islam, in my religion, Islam doesn't force a woman to change her surname. When you get married, and if the woman wants to keep a maiden name, she's welcome to do it. It's not like a compulsory thing. But if you look at it now, today it's a norm. It's been gone for many years. You are known, my wife will be known as Mrs. Dawood.
Dawood says he sees a challenge when it comes to the identity of men in future.
So it will create a problem eventually. It will be very difficult to accept it, because you must remember it's also a lineage thing. You're going to get children, they're going to carry, and and you look at it all, go back to the Bible, everybody carries the father's name. So I don't think it's going to work that you're changing your surname. For what?
This young couple shares his sentiments that the judgment might cause challenges in future. They say, despite the shifts in the establishment of marriages, they still believe in the traditional norms and have decided to follow traditional practices.
Okay, what we have decided to do, and it was actually both our decision. Number one, I didn't even know the new culture of the father or the husband taking the surname from the mother's side. However, for me, I have decided that I'll move over and take his surname. And reason being, it's the culture that we grew up in. When you get married, you need to take the father's surname. So technically, I just want to follow that route, and I would also want that when I have kids as well, they should be able to carry the surname. And that is the reason I'm here today, to grow the family and carry on with the surname. So for me, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy.
The husband says as a man, he would want his legacy to be carried by his wife and children.
Nna, by my side, ne ke ganana le one gore nna ke le sena kgomo ke nka ke le tlhogo nka se batle gore ke lo nka fane go ga Kaningoni go ya ka nna ne ke bona gore ke theola seriti sa ba ga sena kgomo go ya ka nna ba de ba o buang ka teng ke a tlhaloganya de o buang ka teng ke a tlhaloganya so but nna ntse ke eme mo gore ha o le mme o tlamega o nke sefane sa go bontate o tle ka go bontate re tlo oketsa leloko le la go sena go.
Despite the differences in opinion, this judgment is seen by some as progressive and celebrated as a showcase of the social advancements that South Africans are making. Kamogelo Siekwi, SABC News, Bloemfontein.